If you have been taking magnesium every single night and you are still lying awake at 2 in the morning with your heart pounding or your calf muscle locked up in a cramp so bad it wakes you out of a dead sleep, stay with me for the next few minutes, because I am about to show you the one mistake almost everyone in their 50s, 60s, and 70s is making with this mineral. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Now I know you have probably already watched a handful of videos on magnesium. Maybe you have seen the ones about sleep, the ones about blood pressure, the ones about leg cramps at night. Most of them all say the same tired thing. Take your magnesium, pick a bottle, done. But almost none of them tell you the one detail that changes everything, and that's this. The number printed on the back of your magnesium bottle was never designed to make you feel better. It was designed to keep you from getting seriously sick. That is a very different goal. So, by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why your magnesium might not be working, which form of it your body can actually absorb, and how to tell if your sleepless nights and your racing heart are coming from ordinary stress or from something happening inside your brain that stress has almost nothing to do with. I am Dr. William, and stick around, because the mistake at the very end is the one most people never even think to check. Here is where most people go wrong. That number on the label, usually somewhere around 350 to 400 milligrams, is what is called the recommended daily allowance. And here is what almost nobody explains to you. That number is not a target for feeling calmer or sleeping better. It is the bare minimum amount needed to keep a healthy young adult from developing a serious deficiency disease. That is the whole purpose of it. It was never built to fix anxiety, muscle tightness, or a racing heartbeat. Think about it like this. If your car needs a full tank of gas to get you comfortably to your destination, and you only put in enough to keep the engine from completely dying on the side of the road, you should not be surprised when the trip does not go smoothly. That is essentially what is happening when you take the label dose and expect real results. And here's something else worth knowing. Those guidelines were built decades ago, using average body weights from that era, weights that, honestly, most of us have grown past since then. Which means for a lot of people today, especially those carrying a bit more weight than the original guidelines assumed, the bare minimum on the label is even further from what your body actually needs. This does not mean more is automatically better in every case, but it does mean the label number was never the finish line, it was only ever the floor. And here is the part that really gets interesting. The demand for magnesium goes up dramatically the moment your body is under any kind of stress. Coffee increases the demand. Sugar increases the demand. Alcohol increases the demand. Even a hard workout at the gym increases the demand. So if you already deal with tight muscles, a racing heart at night, or thoughts that will not slow down, your body may be asking for meaningfully more than that label ever accounted for. But here is a mistake that is even bigger than the dose, and almost nobody talks about it. The type of magnesium sitting in most drugstore bottles is something called magnesium oxide. It is cheap to manufacture, and it is compact, so companies can cram a large number on the label into one small capsule. That is exactly why it is everywhere. The problem is that this particular form barely gets absorbed by your digestive system. Only a small fraction of it actually makes it into your bloodstream. The rest sits in your intestines, pulling in water, which is exactly why so many people who try to take more of it end up running to the bathroom instead of sleeping better. So you take a bigger dose, hoping for a bigger benefit, and instead your body just complains. A much gentler and far better absorbed option is a form called magnesium glycinate. It is attached to an amino acid that your body handles smoothly, with none of the stomach upset, and that same amino acid has its own quiet calming effect on the nervous system. So you are essentially getting two calming ingredients working together instead of one. Now let's talk about what is actually happening inside your brain, because this is the part that explains why some people feel better within hours, and other people need weeks before anything changes. Picture your brain having something like a gas pedal and a brake pedal. There's a chemical that revs things up, keeps you alert, keeps you reacting fast, And there's another chemical that calms everything down so you can actually drift off to sleep at night. Under normal conditions, this system smoothly switches from go mode during the day to rest mode at night. But magnesium is one of the key helpers that allows that brake pedal to actually engage. Without enough of it, the gas pedal stays pressed down even while you are lying in bed with your eyes closed, and your brain runs hot all night long even though your body desperately wants to shut down. Here's why this matters so much. This feels almost identical to having too much stress hormone in your system. The symptoms overlap so closely that most people just assume it must be stress. So they reach for calming herbs, they try breathing exercises. Sometimes it helps a little, sometimes it doesn't help at all. And the honest reason it does not always help is because the actual issue was never the stress hormone to begin with. It was this overheated brake system that never got its raw material. This is exactly why some people notice a real difference within a single night of taking the right form and the right amount, while others need several weeks before they feel any shift at all. And here is how you can start telling the difference for yourself. If your main issue is genuinely stress-related, you will likely notice more weight settling around your midsection, your blood sugar running a little high, maybe your blood pressure creeping up too, and your energy might spike in the early morning before you are even fully awake. But if the real issue is this overheated brain circuit, you will notice something very specific. You are bone tired, completely exhausted, and yet you still cannot fall asleep or stay asleep. You might catch yourself clenching your jaw or grinding your teeth at night. Restless legs that will not settle down. Little muscle twitches here and there. And here's the part coming up that most doctors genuinely worry about the most, because these two issues feed each other in a brutal cycle. Poor sleep raises your stress hormone. A higher stress hormone burns through more magnesium. Less magnesium means your brain's brake pedal works even worse. And a worse brake pedal means even poorer sleep the next night. Round and round it goes, and the only way out of that loop is giving your body back the one raw material it has been missing the entire time. Now here's something your doctor's office cannot easily tell you, even if they wanted to. Testing your magnesium level accurately is shockingly difficult. Most of the magnesium in your entire body lives inside your cells, not floating around in your blood. Only a tiny sliver of your total supply is ever measured in a standard blood test. So your body will actually pull magnesium out of your bones just to keep that small blood number looking normal, even while the rest of your body is running on empty. This is exactly why so many people get a blood test back that says everything is fine, and yet they still feel awful, because the test was never designed to catch what is actually happening deep inside your cells and your energy-producing machinery. All right, before we get to the exact fix, let's take a quick breather, because I know all this brain chemistry talk can make your head spin faster than my grandkids on a sugar rush at a birthday party. If any of this has been new information for you today, go ahead and tap that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are dealing with the exact same thing you are. All right, back to it. Now, here is a mistake that even people who already switched to the better absorbed form are still making, so do not tune out yet. A lot of folks take their magnesium at the exact same time as a big calcium supplement, or wash it down with a tall glass of milk right alongside it. Calcium and magnesium actually compete for the same doorway into your bloodstream, so loading up on both at once can mean neither one gets absorbed particularly well. A simple fix is spacing them apart by a couple of hours if you take both, or at the very least, not relying on one giant combined pill that dumps everything in all at once. And here's another detail worth knowing. Magnesium and vitamin D actually work as partners in your body. Vitamin D cannot be properly activated without enough magnesium present, which means if you are one of the many people taking a vitamin D supplement every morning and still feeling sluggish, part of the reason might be that your magnesium is too low to let that vitamin D do its job in the first place. It is a bit like handing someone a key without ever giving them the door it opens. There is also a simple, low-cost trick worth mentioning. A warm bath with plain Epsom salt, a couple times a week. It is not going to replace what your body absorbs through actual digestion, but plenty of people find it genuinely relaxing before bed, and a small amount does appear to absorb through the skin. So think of it as a gentle helper alongside everything else, not the main solution on its own. There is actually an old, quietly forgotten case from many decades ago involving a doctor who gave meaningfully higher amounts of magnesium to a large group of patients struggling with severe low mood, and the majority of them showed real improvement. It has largely been forgotten by modern medicine, but it lines up with something we are only now starting to appreciate again. Plenty of what gets labeled as difficult to treat may actually have a nutritional piece hiding underneath it that never gets properly addressed. And here is something that will probably frustrate you the way it frustrates me. Our food supply has changed. Modern farming practices focus heavily on nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to grow bigger, better-looking crops. But that same practice tends to crowd out magnesium in the soil. So, you can eat a plate full of beautiful, vibrant vegetables today and still come up short on this one essential mineral, simply because it was never fully replaced in the ground it grew in. Add in our modern coffee habits, our sugar, our stress, our medications, and our workouts, and you have got a recipe where a huge portion of people are quietly running low without ever realizing it. So here is exactly what to do about all of this. First, choose the gentler, better absorbed form, magnesium glycinate, rather than the cheap oxide form sitting on most pharmacy shelves. Second, if you're working with your doctor to correct a real shortfall, splitting your intake across 2 or 3 smaller amounts throughout the day, rather than one large amount all at once, tends to be gentler on your stomach and easier for your body to actually use. Third, and this is the part people rush the most, give it real time. This is not an overnight fix for most people. Plan on a few weeks of consistent use before you judge whether it is working, especially if your main issue leans more toward the stress hormone side of things rather than the overheated brain circuit side. And if your issue really is that racing, wired, exhausted but wide awake feeling, pay attention, because many people notice a real difference within the very first night or two, since that particular circuit responds so quickly once it finally gets what it has been missing. One more thing before we wrap up. Always talk with your own doctor before making any real changes to your supplement routine, especially if you take blood pressure medication, heart medication, or if you have any kind of kidney concern, because magnesium needs to be handled carefully in those situations, and your doctor knows your full picture better than any video ever could. So, let's bring it all together. The label on your bottle was built to prevent a disease, not to make you feel your best. The cheap form most people grab does not absorb well and can upset your stomach. And your sleepless, wired, exhausted nights might be a brain circuit issue rather than a pure stress issue. And now you know exactly how to tell the difference. And speaking of things nobody tells you, my doctor once told me the only supplement he never forgets to take is patience, mostly because his grandkids test every last ounce of it daily. If this video actually helped clear something up for you today, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because we cover topics exactly like this every single week, the stuff your regular checkup never quite has time to cover. And before you go, drop a comment down below and tell me what topic you would want covered next, whether that is sleep, blood pressure, joint pain, or something else entirely. I read every single one, and a lot of future videos come directly from your comments. Also, I would genuinely encourage you to keep digging into this topic on your own, beyond just this video. The more you understand about your own body, the better decisions you get to make about it. And one last note, everything shared in this video is general health information meant for education. It is not personalized medical advice, and it is not a replacement for a real conversation with your own doctor about your own specific situation. I am Dr. William. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.